Listen, I don't make the rules, but all I'm saying is episodes like these definitely cement Frieren as being, at the very least, Anime of the Year contender. And as I've been saying for so many weeks, easily going to be my anime of the year. You know, I feel free to disagree all you want. This year has been a banger. You got a lot to pick from. You got your 2-year eternities, you got your Dark Gatherings, you got your Vinland Sagas, your Attack on Titans. There is a lot to pick from. But for me, after watching 15 episodes of Frieren now, which is more episodes than a lot of anime air in a single season, I mean, we don't get a lot of 2-cours anymore, let alone ones that are going to be 28 episodes. This show has been phenomenal, and an episode like this, which feels like 2 different episodes joined together, but not in a convoluted way. No, we get this like action-adventure kind of slice-of-life spectacle in terms of one-shotting a Final Fantasy boss in terms of this giant flower. I mean, absolutely incredible stuff. Give her 5 seconds and she only needs 1 second to destroy something after coming out of her slumber. She has enough time to do the mail, get her nails done, and even cook kids dinner, because that's how built different Frieren is. She gets passed out by a curse and gets woke up after Zion realizes that he needs her help, and without even finishing his sentence, she has one-shotted the opponent. That's enough to make an episode absolutely 10 out of 10, but then you combine in the second half with Stark, who finds his long-lost father, not in the real way, of course, but in the sense that this man lost his son, and it's this political arrangement, just simply, hey, fill in for my son at this gala, you'll get 10 gold coins and a grimoire of your choice, and all's well that ends well. But we get this really nice moment between fake father, fake son, and them deciding not to try to make something fake, but allow him to embrace his actual son out there. And it's 10 out of 10. Full live reaction, episode 15, that Frieren greatness over on my Patreon. If you would like to see my full uncut thoughts, it's over there if you're interested. This was a fantastic episode, and I truly believe is my anime of the year. And this has been arguably the best year of anime in a long, long time. I mean, season after season, it has just been delivering. And there's so much I've enjoyed. Like, it's literally impossible to, like, sum it down to 10 good shows this year. Like, I mean, at minimum 25 you'd have to make a list out of. But it's just so great to see this cast, and I love the idea of how seamlessly they can blend goofy silliness in terms of that general bickering, because anyone who's had a group of friends, hell, even if you just had one friend, the way you naturally kind of bicker and kind of joke off of one another, it's really nice to see how they're able to do that, especially with my boy Zion, because he's MILF hungry, man, and I can't say I blame him. I mean, you look at Frieren, she does not look like someone who's 1,000 years old, and luckily for us, that's a good thing, because she'd be crusty as hell if she did. No, instead, he's like, listen, we need a good MILF for this party. But I love how they're building him like, hey, there's something that this party needs, and they're all like dead-ass thinking like, well, we got this. Actually, we're doing pretty well. You know what? We do need a thief because the mimic chests do be getting her. And I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of... No, we need a MILF. And I'm like, my boy, I bow to your presence. You understand what it is we're missing in this party. And then we just casually walk into a village where everyone's down on the ground. I'm thinking, what the hell just happened? Are they in the Shadow Realm? What occurred here? And it's this curse that basically something has happened. And I thought we were building into seeing our boy basically do some sort of ritual, cast out this evil presence. Instead, no. While that definitely is a possibility, I mean, the quickest option is to go kill the monster, and in doing so, you'll prevent that monster from ever reactivating the curse. So it's just kind of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, getting the people back up and preventing it from ever occurring again. But it was cool because I thought what they were clearly building into was that Frieren and probably Stark would pass out. Fern would be the one, because we know she's very talented. Fern and Zion would be the one to deal with the monster, and instead, no, they both end up passing out, as does Frieren. And just the confidence in someone. And this is another example of why the flashbacks are so good. You get to have like these bonding moments with the current characters and their previous connections, but half the time those previous connections are ones that we also now have a connection with in terms of the original party. So the idea that our boy's just sitting there like, there was no good communication, we completely misunderstood, so I decided to just believe in what she said, have trust, because if you try to explain things to her or for her to explain things to you, you're just not going to be in for a good time. So the idea that he's going around fighting this thing, and he's actually doing pretty good. Like, yes, he's trying to use his own magic to attack and it gets deflected, but he's a speedy fella. For someone who's been a drunken priest for how many years, not really probably having a lot of combat experience in comparison to someone going off on an adventure day after day, traveling the roads, bandits and monsters for days, he was rather nimble, but he had to bring her back, and then he couldn't even finish his sentence. He started and she does this arch shot that just one-shots the thing, completely unfazed. One of the most badass moments, and I think it goes back to when we were recruiting Stark, I mean, we know she could have dealt with the dragon. She didn't need his help to deal with the dragon. It was about building his confidence so that he knows that he is worthy of traveling on the road with them. But this is definitely a moment that shows us that, yeah, 100% if there was still any question if she could just immediately, like, she didn't need that casting time. She could just fire it off like that, and holy hell, she is built different. But I really think the second half of the episode is my favorite overall, and I love the first half. I thought that was fantastic, action-packed, the animation fantastic. But I gotta admit, I think my favorite piece of animation was actually that dance. I mean, there was just a lot of expression. It's very easy for like a dance scene in anime to just be a lot more like on the torso area and the head area, because if you have a dress in an anime, that thing's gonna naturally flow, and that's a lot of moving pieces for something that a lot of anime fans aren't gonna care about. So focus on the close-ups, give some good face reactions, and all's well that ends well. But this is a no. Not only are we gonna continue to build this clear romance between Fern and Stark, we're gonna give them this like really romantic scene where her dress is flowing, and I'm just like, you can't tell me that didn't feel like two people actually dancing, because that was really well done. And I think that's the thing I really like about the clearly romance blossoming between these two. I mean, I said it last week, like, any doubts about it, I think went out the window, but like, this is the type of episode, the way she was looking at him, the way she was melting. She was like, she had love in her eyes towards my boy. And I don't know how long it's going to be. It's going to be anywhere between 3 to 8 episodes, and they're going on a date. I just feel like with how she was this episode, if the opportunity comes up within the next few, she's going to take it. And if not, it will take a bit longer because there's going to be a lot of chaos and a lot of adventures on the road that may prevent them from having a cute little date adventure. But there's something brewing there, and it was really sweet to see it. But what I like is the idea that, because now that we know about Stark's past and how his brother was the only one in that village to truly appreciate him and treat him as not worthless. So the idea that basically you have this son who looks very identical to Stark, died in battle, father clearly grieving. I mean, do you see that, the size of that portrait? He has the size of that portrait on his walls for his first son, and his next son is named Mutt. I'm like, okay, I see where we're going here. If you're calling your second son Mutt, this ain't gonna go over well. But in actuality, he's a good father. He's someone who's like, listen, I do tell him he's good, but then it goes to his head and then he doesn't improve. But he's actually going to surpass me one day. And I love how instead of being like, you know what, Stark, you have to stay here, this, that, and the third. No, he's like, listen, I can't replace your son. You can't replace what I've lost. You have someone out there that needs you. It's all going to be okay. And I got to give back these stories to Eisen when I return home from my journey. And I really appreciate that, because it would have been very easy to make this just something for plot convenience. They could have easily had people saying, you're not the real son, you're just imposing, and then we're going to have this big drama arc. No, like, they went to the gala and everyone believed because he looked like him, and the only people who would doubt it is those close to the family. And instead of going super dramatic like, this Frieren bitch, she ain't good for you, he's calls her mommy and saying like, do you need your mommy to like permission slip sign in order to do things? Like, there's a bit of trolling there, but it was all in good fun, and I just really appreciate that. And I came out of this all just saying, I mean, I can't help it. This is my anime of the year. Everything about it. I love a good slice of life, and that's basically what this show is. It's a slice of life adventure to get to heaven. They say they're roughly halfway there, meaning we're probably going to end at heaven by the end of season 1. I know the manga is ongoing, so there's clearly going to be more than just that by the end of this, but I mean, seriously, this clearly is going to have a good stopping point, I think, at this point, just based on how everything's been directed, and that's all I can say. 10 out of 10. This is my anime of the year. Shoot me. Now, of course, those are my feelings. Let me know what you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're around here. Of course, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more free into the channel. And like I mentioned, we have that full live reaction over on my Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, you also get a video shout out. Alright, so today we have Durhosh, Franklin Greenway, Hikari Lounge, Flutespringer, Aldol, Sologaki, and Subject 3. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.